Chef Corso, Outdoor Eats. I'm here to put you on the path to amazing meals on your outdoor treks. Wherever you're going, however you're doing it, I want you to be able to eat well with fast, easy, and tasty recipes. What we're talking about here tonight is dinner. Yes, dinner. Dinner is my favorite meal of the day. But sometimes for dinner, you just get in your recipe rut. You have the same 4 or 5 things that you make, your fajitas, your rice dishes, your stir fry, those kind of things. And sometimes you just need some new ideas. So this recipe could be your new favorite. And what we are making here today is we are making a Creole shepherd's pie, an American twist on a classic that is sure to wow your crew when you are all set up at camp and staring at that beautiful lake, the beautiful ridgeline, the beautiful river, wherever you are today. So the interesting thing about this little segment is we are actually gonna start with cleaning. Yeah, we're not gonna start with chopping, we're gonna start with cleaning because I just made something and I have a dirty pot. This is a quick tip to be able to easily do dishes on the road or on the trail because I know that they're your favorite. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm adding some water back to my pot. And what I made in this, it has some sugar, it has some caramel, it's a little bit, has some of those bits that are kind of burned onto the bottom, and also has some smears along the side, which can be pretty tough to clean. So we are doing the reboil method. So I am putting a little extra water in our pot, getting our burner going, and I'm gonna put my lid on it and bring it back up to a simmer because I want that water to help dissipate some of those crumbly bits and the steam to hit the sides and help with those smeared on items on the side. And the great part about a lot of these camp stoves is they are meant to cook hot and meant to cook fast, and with just 4 to 6 ounces of water in here, it should come up to a simmer pretty darn quick. While that's coming up to a boil, let's talk about our ingredients for our Creole shepherd's pie. So Creole shepherd's pie is a classic, and usually it is based on some ground beef or stewed lamb and some sort of brown, thick, delicious gravy, and some little vegetables in there, right? So we've got some peas, some corn, maybe some celery or some carrots in there. What we're gonna do though is really give it the Southern New Orleans Creole treatment. So we have some green and red peppers, we have some celery, we have some andouille sausage, a little bit of tomato paste, some Old Bay seasoning, Old Bay all day, so good. And then the other thing is you might be looking as well, you don't have an onion. You know, onions are a backbone for a lot of really, really great dishes, but sometimes you just don't want to pack a big onion. Sometimes you don't want to chop it. So I have some French's fried onions here, and I have had a rebirth on French's fried onions over the last couple years. They aren't just for Thanksgiving anymore. They are super tasty and actually go really well in your soups, in your stews, in your casseroles to be able to flavor them up. You could also save a little bit for that crumbly bits at the top too. And then lastly, we are gonna throw in some corn nuts. If you are cooking this and it's summertime and you have some fresh ears of corn, please go ahead and use that. You can easily use some frozen corn as well. But if you're provisioning on the road, maybe you don't have that luxury of that fresh or frozen corn. So corn nuts are gonna be a great substitute for that. And you get to have a little snack while you're cooking as well. Corn nuts are one of the crunchiest things you can possibly get, and we're gonna be able to have some of that crunch in there, but they'll actually hydrate up a little bit as well. Man, blast from the past when I was like 10. So good. So our dirty pot has come up to a simmer, and I'm using my spatula to scrape down the sides, and that steam has already dissipated some of our mess along the side. So go ahead and scrape the bottom too. This should just take a few minutes, just depending on how dirty your skillet is, how dirty your pot is. But this reboil method has really helped me when I am on my backpacking trips or I am cooking on the road to be able to clean up my pots and my pans really quick without getting out the 3-compartment sink and all the sponges and all the soap. Wow, we are looking pretty darn good here. And I think for today, we are looking for what I like to call hiker clean, which is pretty clean, maybe not fully sanitized. Nothing's in here is gonna get us sick or anything, but we just want most of the bits and most of the smears off of here. Nice, there we go. So not looking too bad as far as cleanliness. And if you are on the road, make sure to dispose of this properly. You can dig a cat hole away from a water source, or what you can do too is drink it. And you might be looking at me, that's sort of weird to drink dishwater. There's no soap, there's no sanitizer in here. It's just water, a little bit of cinnamon, and a little bit of caramel. Actually tastes pretty darn good, but it is a way to properly dispose of your gray water. Great, so our pot is mostly clean, looking pretty darn good, and we need to boil up some water for our instant mashed potato topping. Lid on a pot always boils faster. And then I'm gonna turn my attention to chopping. This recipe does have a good amount of chopping, but you will be definitely rewarded with all of your hard work. So we've got our andouille sausage. This happens to be pre-cooked and vacuum sealed, so a little bit more bulletproof when you are going on the road and less concerned for cross-contamination and food safety. But I love andouille sausage. It's one of the great sausages of the world, one of the great sausages of the Americas. It has a nice spiced flavor as well as some garlic and black pepper. It's a really great sausage that is often included in gumbos and jambalayas. Just doing a rough chop on this. Doesn't have to be super perfect. Chop up a little bit of green pepper here. And this happens to be a Anaheim chili. You know, when I was provisioning at the store actually was out of green peppers, which is pretty crazy. But I just decided to go a little bit spicy, a little bit different. So we're kind of doing a little Mexican, Creole, Southern fusion with our shepherd's pie recipe. And you're more than welcome to use an onion. You can also use a shallot. Those are really nice and easy packing along the road and along the trail as well. Our water is all boiling. And we're gonna add it to our instant mashed potatoes. Let those hydrate up. If you wanna make your own homemade mashed potatoes, garlic mashed potatoes, please, please do. Sometimes these instant potato packets are just really clutch and super helpful for those nights that you get to your campsite really late, sun is setting and you're really hungry, you've had a really, really long day, your tire blew 2 hours back and you are tired and you're hungry. Sometimes it's okay to fudge it with the instant mashed potatoes. We've got all of our ingredients all chopped up, so we're gonna get our burner back going and start to saute all of these yummy ingredients in there with a little bit of oil. So we've got our red and green peppers, our celery, our andouille sausage, that a little toss, and we are going to add our corn nuts. Yeah, corn nuts right in there, and our French's fried onions. And we're going to give that a little bit of a stir. And what we're looking for here is our sausage to sear up, our veggies to cook most of the way through. But look at all that beautiful color here in the sunlight. And we can go ahead and add our Old Bay all day. Good for these kind of hearty dishes, but also really great for lighter seafood dishes. Or just sprinkling it right on some roasted potatoes. Super, super good. And then we're gonna add our tomato paste. And yeah, did you know tomato paste comes in a tube? It's really, really helpful. You don't have to have those small cans that you don't need a tablespoon or two and don't know what to do with the rest of it. Tomato paste comes in a tube, pesto comes in a tube, also mayo, mustard, and some other interesting herbs and sauces come in a tube. Goes right back in your cooler, right back in your rig. Super, super helpful. Give that a little bit of a stir. Oh boy, yeah, we are cooking now. And we're gonna add some water to this. Loosen up that tomato paste, make sure we're not burning in here. I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer, put the lid on it, and I'm looking for this to get all nice and soft, so maybe about 3 to 5 minutes for this pot and this burner. So we'll come back and check on it. This has been simmering for about 5 minutes. Let's take a look. Wow, that is looking really good. Our onions and corn nuts have softened. Our sausage is cooked through. Our veggies are nice and soft as well. We've got some great color. And for any great shepherd's pie, we've got to have some cheese. So layering in our cheese here. And then what I'm about to do is cover this up with bland, boring white potatoes. So look at that, look how pretty that is. Spread that on, get our full shepherd's pie experience with our layers. Wow, yes, that looks great. So let that sit for just a minute so our cheese can melt, because one of the great things of life in the kitchen is melted cheese. It's so, so good, but the thing about melted cheese, it only lasts for about 5, 10, or 15 minutes, and then it goes to congealed cheese, which is still tasty and still good, but it is not melted cheese, and melted cheese is amazing. Dig in here for a big old proper bite. Oh yes, melted cheese pull. Great color and flavor. Careful, it is hot. I love that Old Bay seasoning and the andouille flavor. Corn nuts are chewy and soft, but a little bit crunchy still. Got a whole lot going on here in just one pot for dinner. Actually, one pot and one bowl, but still not a whole lot of dishes. Can't wait for you to give this a try. Really tasty option. Does have a little bit of prep and a little bit of chopping on the front end, but finishes up super, super quick on the back end. Cook up this recipe. Check out outdooreats.com for other great recipe ideas for dinner to get you out of your recipe rut. But get out there, cook something amazing somewhere awesome.